engine beyond repair. It was springtime on the island of Sodor, and the trains were being really useful every day. The Amtrak Auto train goes from Lorton, Virginia to Sanford, Florida, and there are 26 auto racks altogether and 2 engines up front. Sometimes the engine faces frontward and sometimes the engine faces backward behind the other. The Northeast Corridor is electrified, so it goes from Boston to Washington, D.C. And the Northeast Regional and Acela fly down it. Out in the Midwest, there are lots of farm fields and grade crossings, while the trains that are really useful go over the crossings and blow their horn to greet people as they pass by. BNSF and Union Pacific adapt with CSX and Norfolk Southern in Chicago, Illinois. There are lots of freight cars that can be loaded with lots of things like different products like clothes, toys, beds, food, and others. The little blue pickup truck had to stop at the grade crossing to let the whole freight train go by. It was going to California. Before long, the train was on the other side, and the little blue truck drove away. One day, Alexia was delivering cardboard boxes to Suttery. They were for the Sodor Capitol building. The train was really long, and Alexia carried on with all 25 cars and a red brake van in the rear. Alexia was feeling pleased with herself as she rolled along the line with all 25 cars. But then, further up down the line, was a set of evil engines. They were very unfriendly, and they made black smoke. One's name was Glubsy, the other's name was Nepty, and the other's name was Siltsy. And they did not care about the engines or controllers at all. Alexia stopped to greet Henry. "Be careful of the evil engines, Alexia," Henry said. "They don't care about us. They care about hazardous materials." "Thanks for the heads up, Henry," Alexia said, and she steamed out of the intermodal yard. She was feeling happy as she left with all her freight cars. She arrived at Knapford Station to collect food for the hospital cafeteria. "There's evil engines on the line. Glubsy, Nepty, and Siltsy," Alexia said. "Those engines are big-time evil," Percy said. "I never want to be near them. They don't care about me, Thomas, James, or the other engines at all." "They triggered passengers at the airport this morning, and they couldn't get on their flight," said James. "That's because they were cross," said Toby. "You never say trigger words ever, ever, ever," Thomas said crossly. "They might hurt the passengers on the express," Gordon said crossly. "And they don't care about us at all." The engines were furious. Before long, Percy, James, Toby, Thomas, and Gordon let it go, and Alexia steamed out of the station. A few minutes later, Alexia was delivering pipes into the yard when she saw Glubsy. She was super duper cross. "Once before you leave," Glubsy said, "I'm gonna chop you up into pieces, and then I'm gonna eat you up like a hamburger, and then you're gonna smell like rotten eggs." "Ew, that's gross!" Alexia said. "Stop that!" Meanwhile, Duck was shunting troublesome trucks into the yard. They were to build a new shed. Duck came to a stop, and he steamed into the siding. The troublesome trucks had a plan. "We're gonna dive right into the MBTA control car," they one of them said. "That's a good idea," one other said. "Shh!" they hissed. "That's a good idea. Ha ha!" "Enough making weird, odd noises," Alexia said crossly. "We were hissing!" the truck said. Alexia was cross. "What? Train cars don't hiss! Only snakes, cats, and Stain hiss! Not real cars! Cats and snakes hiss! Train cars hiss!" yelled the troublesome trucks. Alexia was furious. "Vroom, vroom!" she roared. And she was so furious, she bashed the brake van so hard, and the troublesome trucks were astonished, and they crashed right into Edward. "Oh no!" laughed the trucks. "We're derailing!" And they laughed a lot. I don't like it when you make car engine noises, Duck said crossly. "I know, Duck. I'm sorry about derailing your cars, and I'm sorry, Edward." "You should be sorry," Edward said. "I'm not okay." When Mr. Cakester arrived, he had stern words and spoke severely to Alexia. "Absolutely not," Mr. Cakester said. "I'm not having you shunt cars here for the rest of the day. You have caused confusion and delay, and thanks for saying sorry to Duck and Edward, but you should never ever biff freight cars and make automobile noises, 'cause that was very, very unexpected. And I want you to take freight cars on a consist of 100 until you learn to be gentle." "Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir," Alexia